while we're doing this, when he is Sarda would make a big complaint saying that she does not want to be on a team with Boruto and about the shuriken. Christian says, so what? I want to be the Shadow Hokage. I like being that because then I won't have to be acknowledged by anybody. And you know what else? I still have one habit that I want to break. That's me not being freaking shocked that Mitsuki appears out of nowhere. That is a 100% habit I want to break. And also, there's no point. He's always busy, so there's no point in going to see him. And then she goes to get the thing to do the direct appeal. Then he says, I'm coming with you three because I don't trust you idiots. Then Shikamaru paralyzes both of them. When he grabs him, Christian goes, activating the Sharingan and trying to put Shikamaru in a Genjutsu. He goes, oh, trying to put me in a Genjutsu, huh? He goes, damn it. He says, Lord Seven's not here, and I won't tell you his location either. He's on official business. He goes, I'll find him. Then he body flickers. And the rest has to go find him. They're also alerted that they're coming. Then they're hiding in the forest, and then they see all kinds of Jonin and Chunin. He says, guys, go, I'll take care of them. They go, okay. He says, you're a true teammate. He says, get out of here, you idiots. Then they run to the left and get past. He said, then Christian jumps in front as a distraction. He goes, ah, it's you. Sorry, but Lord Seventh is on official business. You won't be able to get to him. He goes, really? He says, then he walks by. He says, I'm pretty sure I've already won this. He goes, checkmate. Then they all fall. They all fall through the ground. He says, Earth style headhunter jutsu. And walks by them. Then they reach the bridge. He goes, Christian says, big sister Mirai? He goes, oh, you actually remember. He says, damn right I do. He says, we're getting through this no matter what. Then he spins. He says, I'm sorry, but Lord Seventh is not official business. You can't go by. All of them, he says, then the entire Team 7 shows up. Christian says, this is a little bit of bad luck. He says, how did you three get past all the guards? He says, we didn't, he did. He says, she says, how? He says, he appears behind her saying, Earth style, headhunter jutsu. She goes to use her kunais, but he's already gone. He says, then he pulls her down under, he goes, ha! Then he goes, with his raw skill, he's still, even without teamwork, he's still strong. He goes, Isra, don't get you. Then drops her into the water. She disappears, and appears right back on the bridge. He pulls himself up, and Boruto and Sarda rush at her and clash. They'd both be easily sent back. Christian says, Sharingan! Then he'd go, then he'd go, he goes, you two go, now! He says, head to Lord Seventh. I have one final move that I'd like to show off that you can't dodge. He goes, charging up. He goes, then he charges up his full power. Hold on, give me a sec. Then he says, go! He says, ah! Charging up his full power going. Konohamaru says he's launching all his chakra in his fist so then as they increase power and speed. He says, and he's risking himself for Boruto and Sarada. What a true teammate. Then he goes... Konohamaru thinks in his head, this jutsu, that jutsu probably could take out Lord 7th if he landed every single blow. We could probably take out Lord 7th. He goes, and then Mirai is on the floor. He goes... Then he goes... And what I don't know if this translates to, but he goes... I'm just gonna say he says... And she's on the floor, beaten up from that one attack. He goes... Then he rushes, then he body flickers to the two of them. And they realize that, see, he wants them to work together after he keeps on sacrificing himself to go in. So then, when Sarada says, he says, you guys made it through Mirai? Then he body flickers saying, I did. Sacrifices, boys. He's good. No, he doesn't appear. They say, how did you guys defeat Mirai? He says, we didn't. We had a sacrifice for us, but it was entirely his decision. He goes, reminds me of Neji. He says, he just used an all-out attack that absolutely destroyed Mirai. He says, I think it's still going on right now. Then Naruto listens up, and then all they hear is, no, all they hear is freaking. All they hear is. He goes, geez, I can probably feel that. She goes, alright, so what did you guys want? He says, Sarada says, we want to change our team name to Team 7. Boruto is shocked, and she says, and he goes, okay, you're officially Team 7. Then Christian sleep body flickers and goes, he says, is he asleep? He goes, yep. She says, but then he starts to laugh and goes, and then he says, is he laughing while sleeping? He says, nope, I'm awake. I'm just on the floor closing my eyes because of how much energy that took. Then he says, then why are you laughing so much? He says, because I still can't get over the fact that you and Boruto almost kissed. It was hilarious. I think I got that on videotape, actually. She says, they both try and grab the phone. She says, no, don't you dare. He goes, gotta catch me. Then he rushes home. He goes, then he just body flickers saying, I'm out. Then he says, hi mom. Sakura says, oh hi honey, what's up? He says, we got our team name changed to Team 7. And Sarada and Boruto are mad at me because I recorded them almost kissing because Iwabe accidentally knocked them into each other. He says, I got the recording footage, and shows it. She goes, that reminds me of Naruto and your father. He says, wait, what? Then Sasuke comes home, with Sarada also being behind him saying, have you deleted the footage? He says, nope. Then Sarada asks Sasuke and Sakura who their first kiss is. She says, Mom, Dad, who are your first kisses? He says, was it each other? Christian says, it was obviously each other. He goes, they both say, no. Sasuke says, Naruto. Sakura says, Naruto. Christian goes, excuse me, what? She goes, yeah, on the once we were in the graduation exam after the day after, your lords have been staring at your father, and their rivalry grew. But one of the classmates elbowed Naruto into your father's mouth, and then they both kissed. And then the entire class, with all this being fangirls of your father, beat the crap out of him. He goes, wow, that's rough. He says, you, Mom? How did you get Naruto to be your first kiss? She says, in the Great Ninja War, Naruto's nine-tailed fox was extracted. So then I tried to restart his heart, even put my lips on his lips to try and do something. He says, look, I don't even, he says, that's almost as funny as Boruto almost kissing Sarada. Sasuke says, excuse me, what? He says, I didn't say anything. He goes, then he runs upstairs and downloads it onto his computer. Sasuke says, I will destroy your computer! He goes, don't blame me, blame Iwabe, he knocked Boruto into her! He says, don't blame me for this, all I did was record it! He says, then delete it! He says, no, this is comedy gold! He says, I'm gonna upload it to YouTube! Then Sarada rushes upstairs saying, don't you dare! He says, I will! Then he locks his door and goes, then he's working on, he says, come on, load. Then she breaks down his door and says, that's it! He says, shoot! Then runs outside with his computer sliding, now slide, drop. Hit them folks, don't stop. Hey, don't stop. Hey, yeah, we gotta live on that beat. He goes, now slide, drop. Then he blasts music in the house, which is not too loud. It's not too loud. It's not like loud music. He goes,
okay, I want y'all to do this dance now. Juju on that beat, juju on that beat, juju on that, juju on that, juju on.
And she's trying to grab the, and he keeps on going.
That beat, now slide, chop, hit don't go no stop, hey, don't stop, hey, don't stop, hey, run a man on that beat, hey, run a man on that beat, hey, run a man on that beat, hey, run a man on that beat.
As he's dodging and ducking, he goes,
do your dance, hey. You ugly, you your daddy's son, hey.
She goes, your father is, Sakura says, your father is handsome. He says, Mom, it's part of the song.
Go dance, hey, go crazy, get free, yeah, let's go, let go, hey, okay, we knuckin' and buckin' and ready to fight. I got my cousin, he with me and got Lizzie on the right, and I'm a Detroit baby, and I don't know nothing else besides drinking and having parties and having some fun. I say, look in the mid, what you expect me to do? I see a 300S and got the blacked out rim. I mean, I like your style, I'm on a whole nother level. If you compare me and you, the back top, hit on me. Okay, I want y'all to do this dance now. Juju on that beat, juju on that beat, juju on that, juju on that, juju on that beat. Now slide, chop, hit don't go no stop, hey.
He goes, hey! And then he says, it's uploaded! He goes, then he says, well, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go get ice cream from the Thunder Burger since they serve it really cheap and it's really good. Then he body flickers to Joyful Burger. Then Shikadai, Jean, Chocho, Iwabe, Denki, and tons more walk into Joyful Burger and they say, person says, please don't laugh at them a lot, please and thank you. He says, also, Iwabe, you shouldn't be laughing, you caused this. He goes, how is this my fault? He says, you elbowed Boruto into her. He goes, but now, my dad and sister are pissed at me. I mean, my dad's just mad at Boruto because he got the lips, because he almost kissed his daughter. But Sarada's mad at me for posting it. But honestly, you can't stop the Sara ship. He says, hey, Boru Sara! Then he gets a text on his phone and he goes, oh, shoot! He says, well, I'm screwed. Does anyone have a house? Can I sleep over someone's house, please? I don't want to get attacked. He says, look at the text message. He goes, yeah, you're on your own for that, but we'll still stay here. And if you're wondering what it says, when you come home, I'm going to destroy you. And that shows demon icons and also death icons. He says, also I have your computer with me. He goes, no you don't, my computer's here, that's a clone. She says, oh yeah? And punches it. I just punched your computer, he says. He says, whoa, what color's the computer? She says, red? He goes, that's your computer, dum-dum! She goes, no! And the whole house can hear it. She says, Sarada, what happened? He says, I broke my own computer! He goes, how did you do that? He says, well, I thought it was his, and I'm mad at him for posting it, and I thought I'd destroy it. But then he said it was a clone. So then when I punched it to make sure it wasn't a clone, I realized that. Then he asked me what color was it, what color hers was, and I said red, and he says, what color is it? And he says, mine's is blue. So then I destroyed mine. He goes, well, you're on your own for that, and just walks out. She says, now you're really... And then then started to text him saying, now you're really done. Sharingan icons. He goes, oh, great. Now she broke her own computer. He said, then Boruto walks in and says, Christian, what the hell is this? He says, ah, shoot. He found out. He says, what is this? And shows him a picture of him. He did an edit of them kissing. He goes, oh shoot. He says, okay. He says, why did you do that? He says, I'm sorry. I'll split the money if it gets popular. I'll split you the money, alright? I'm sorry. He says, fine. He says, you want to have some ice cream with us? We're still eating. He says, well, I probably won't be able to come to the team tomorrow. He goes, what? Why? He says, because I'm dead. I'll be dead. He says, look at these text messages. He goes, oh, yep, you're dead. He goes, yeah, I'm definitely dead. He says, why does those remind me of when I ripped Himawari's toy? He says, oh yeah, you told me about that. Yeah, you got absolutely wrecked. He says, we are just the weaker. He says, I mean, we both have something in common. He says, what? He says, 1, our dads are never home. 2, we're both older brothers. He says, wait, you're older than Sarda? He says, yeah, by about 5 seconds. He says, our moms can get scary. My mom destroyed her own house because she punched the ground. He goes, really, I have no idea what else. He says, I mean, we also both have a Kekkei Genkai / Dojutsu. He says, no, I don't. He says, bro, then what was that white eye you had, goddammit? He goes, He goes, oh yeah. He says, wait, how do you know? He says, remember the Denki part where, like, we were following Denki because he had some weird aura around him, and then I looked at your eye and your eye was all white? He goes, wait, you guys were following? He says, no, we saw you acting weird, so then we followed. He says, so you kind of. He says, and I saved you all tons of money. And repairs. He says, so you can thank me for your whole family's not getting sued. He says, wait, wouldn't you also get sued? He says, no, because I'm the one who stopped the goddamn incident. He says, also, Boruto, my dad's gonna kill you. He goes, oh, shoot. He goes, don't worry, he's leaving tomorrow anyways. Again, this is another time that he's never, oh, God. He says, remember when we were younger and we caught a giant fish as well? And we used to go here all the time. We used to sneak out when we were little, when we were like 7. He says, yeah, I remember that. He says, those were awesome times. He goes, I still don't know why you and Sarda are like, you guys aren't even rivals. And even if you were, it wouldn't even be it would just be a weird one. He says, also, what's a Shadow Hokage? Shikadai's like, I'm wondering that too. He says, well, basically, it's basically a Hokage, but from the shadows. You don't, like, go to the main office and all that crap. You're like a Hokage, it's just you're stronger. You're not stronger, but you're like the Hokage's equal. Also, you also help when the Hokage can't help. He says, basically, that's what my father is. A Shadow Hokage. He says, I also remember when I was 2 and I grabbed my dad's sword and swung it around a couple of times. And ended up almost hitting him. He goes, wait, your dad was around when you were younger? He says, it was like 1 hour or so he was there. Then he left. He goes, then Christian smirks and says, hey guys, want to do something funny? He says, let's go to my house, and then we'll do it. Who's in? Boruto says, I'm in. Dean says, why not? I'm bored. Misi says, I'd like to join. He goes, Shikadai says, fine. The rest of them say no. He goes, oh, fine. Choji says, I'll come, but only because I want to hang out with Sarda. He goes, fine. Then when he gets home, he gets a bonk on the head. He goes, gee! He says, wait, Boruto, you're not mad? He says, no, he said he'd split the profits. He says, what, do I get any? He says, I mean, you were kind of the main comedy, so you get some too. We all get equal portions, don't worry, unless we get an uneven amount. He says, then he says, let me just do a couple of things. He says, what are they doing here? He says, oh, we're going to do something fun that's going to lighten up our days. He says, would you like to join? She says, fine. So, Christian is sitting. He says, then when he looks at he says, where's your computer, Sarda? He says, what the? It's literally just a pile of scraps. What the hell did you do to it? She goes, I broke it. He says, you need to control your damn anger. So then they start it.
Only pay for what you need with Liberty Mutual. And it's tonight.
Alright, so Christian pulls out a Christian is sitting at the desk, doing like a pretend thing, writing down.
What you doing? Nothing, just,
Hold on now, let me just do this normally.
Hey, man, what you doing?
And that's BORUTO. Christian goes,
Nothing, just, writing a letter to my sister. Cool. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I haven't seen her in years. It's weird because...
he gets shot by a Nerf gun and he goes, then falls to his knees and he goes, Mother. He goes, BORUTO, you bitch. Then falls. Then BORUTO realizes what he's done and puts the gun on him. Then sits down on his bed. Then this happens to BORUTO. Come on, keep on going. BORUTO keeps on breathing heavily, going. Then another BORUTO goes. This. Christian on one knee says, never leave your gun. He says. BORUTO goes, no, you didn't. He says, no. What kind of dumps would leave their gun on their victim? He goes, as they. Then BORUTO says, at least we'll die together now. We'll both die. Then Evil Bay's up next. Then Shikadai's next. He runs in. He goes and says,
Guys, I just thought of the funniest thing.
Then BORUTO shoots him. Christian goes, what you say? BORUTO says, you were saying, Shikadai? Then he goes, screw you, BORUTO, and then falls to his knee. Then they all go, ugh. Then Sarda walks in the room and goes, what happened here? Did they have a war without me? I know.
By the time you read this...
Then, Shikadai shoots Sarda. He goes, Shikadai, you bitch. Then she gets shot again. But this time by, BORUTO. Then Sarda shoots Boruto back. Then they all keep on shooting each other, going boom. Then Denki and then Iwabe and Inojin walk in the room and they go,
got ourselves a bloodbath.
Hey, Sarge, listen to this. Dear sister, by the time you read this, I'll be dead. This is how I think it's going to happen. Dave will shoot me, then I'll shoot Dave, then Eric will enter and get shot by Dave. Then you'll come in and get shot by Eric, Dave, and I multiple times. Love, your brother Keith. P.S. Then 2 cops will read this letter and shoot each other.
Then Iwabe laughs.
Now, isn't that the most ridiculous
And
thing?
then Inojin goes. Then Iwabe shoots him right back, going. Then they're all knocked out. Sakura walks in the room saying, I heard gunshots. Multiple. She goes, what the hell? What the hell happened here? Then they say, then Christian goes, nothing. He says we're doing a TikTok/video and we got it all on recording. Christian says, time to post this. Then he looks at the video of Boruto and Sarda kissing and goes, holy shit! That thing's got over 1 billion views! Oh my god! And his subscriber count went up by 5. He's already got 2 million. He goes, holy crap! Then he reads the comments and they go, ha ha ha, so funny. Then he also also Christian's pinned comment was, please do not make fun of my sister or Boruto. And the comments say no promises. Then he posts the video. Then Sakura gets a notification on her phone and says, Christian, do you mind heading to the post office? It's for you. He goes, right, and body flicker's there. He says, here's your duffel bag of cash. This is for your profits on YouTube. He goes, oh my god! Then body flickers back and says, look! He goes, money, money. Then they'll go, ooh, he says. Then Christian gives a stack of 10,000 to Boruto saying, here's your payment. He says, you too, Sarda? Cancer 10,000. Says, here, mom, you can have it. And says, Boruto, then he says, all of you for your acting, here. Then all he has left is $20,000. They say, money for everyone! Sakura says, how much money was that? He says, I think it was about 100,000. He says, geez, for that? He says, look, it got popular. It had 1 billion views. And it's $1. I think it's like $5 for every 1,000 views. He says, I think they're underpaying us, if anything. He goes, but I'm not too greedy. I like it. Then when Boruto walks home, he nods like, Boruto? Why do you have that much money? He goes, it's my payment. He says, what was your payment? He goes, because Christian, remember that video Christian uploaded of me and Sarda almost kissing? She says, then Himori goes, I still ship that. He goes, you are just like Christian. You both ship it. He says, so basically, he said he apologized and from the profits of that YouTube video gave me 10K. Also for my acting, he also gave me 10K for that also. He says we also uploaded another video which is going to give us more money. He gave everyone $10,000. He says that's so generous, but also kind of dumb. Y'all children, you carry around stacks of cash. He goes, so he says also Then he calls Sasuke, saying, "Hey Dad, thanks for the 10 gallons of fake blood. We needed that." He goes, he has it on speakerphone. Sasuke says, "You wanted fake blood?" He goes, "I'm sorry, what? You brought..." He says, "How'd you even get real blood?" He goes, "Yeah, it was fake, he was fake." He goes, "You didn't hear me say any of that." Kristen says, "You're sus." And that's it.